What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a Chicago Bulls and Sacramento Kings game reaction, and all I can say is I'm really not happy about this game against the Sacramento Kings. I value the Chicago Bulls' hard work to come back in this game, but I feel like I'm always discussing these types of situations where we're coming back and we're working so hard to come back in games. But the real problem is not that we're coming back, it's that why we're letting teams get the jump on us in the first place. So we're going to be talking about this against, obviously, the team of the Sacramento Kings. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls game today, your player of the game, your overall thoughts and opinions, and how bad of a loss this is for the Chicago Bulls, because the implications of a loss like this could definitely be a bad one for the Chicago Bulls. We lost the game 112 to 103. A very disappointing performance all the way through from almost every single one of these guys. But at the end of the day, it's catch-up basketball, ladies and gentlemen. This is what is hurting us the most out of everything that we've been talking about. All the defensive capabilities that the Bulls don't show on a nightly basis, the continual offensive struggles that we've recently had in the last two games. With the Cavs, we've obviously won one, but the Kings as well. Offensive struggle for the Chicago Bulls that does lead us to not performing as well as we would like to see with a lot of our team fully healthy. But at the end of the day, it's the bad quarters, ladies and gentlemen. We scored 17 points in the first quarter to their 27, and then we allowed them to score 36 points in the second quarter to our 26. That first half is an absolute joke for the Chicago Bulls. The fact that I have to sit here and talk about a team that has 41 wins on their season and tell them that they have a sense of urgency that they need to live up to because they've seen what it's going to be like. They see the schedule that they have coming forward. To come into this game and perform like that in the first half, in my opinion, is a joke. It's one of the biggest jokes I've seen from the Chicago Bulls this season, and I genuinely can't believe that that actually happened with this team. You're looking at the schedule that we have. You got to give credit to Sacramento. Obviously, they played very hard. They made some incredibly tough shots, and their pick and roll offense was the biggest point of their success every single time down the floor. It was always the pick and rolls. It was always the guards getting down the lane, easy layups, easy floaters, everything like that really happened, was their key to their win for the Sacramento Kings today. But for the Chicago Bulls to have a performance like that in the first half, where we are taking some of the worst shot selections I've seen all season, where we're allowing teams to guard us up to the point where we're getting 2 shot clock violations in the first half. You also have the Chicago Bulls setting up their set plays with 5 seconds left on the shot clock, which results in a terrible shot from the Chicago Bulls. That's something that you can't really blame on the coaching staff. You can't really blame on I guess everybody outside of the players. The players did not come up to show up in this game to play well. They did not. That first half was an extreme lack of urgency from the Chicago Bulls. And considering all of the results that ended up happening today with the Celtics behind us losing, we could have had a little bit of an extra jump on them so they don't overtake us. You had Philadelphia lose today as well against the Denver Nuggets, a really strong team in the Philadelphia 76ers that's beaten us 4 times. We could have potentially overtaken them today as well. But it's just not good enough for the Chicago Bulls to come out and give a performance like that. That's a very, very disappointing result. Every single one of these players needs to have a deep look in the mirror today, because they did disappoint the Chicago Bulls today. They disappointed the fans. And again, knowing the results that did happen today, to lose this game is extremely frustrating. But again, the second half is not something I really have to say too much into. I thought our second half performance was 10 times the performance of the first half, and it showed in how we scored compared to how the Kings scored. But the first half is a joke, and I'm tired of seeing 1 or 2 quarters of the Bulls not performing well. They're killing us. These quarters where we're dropping 17 or we're playing weak defense, we're giving teams an opportunity to score 40 on us in a quarter. That is killing us. That is killing our season. That's killing our win streaks anytime we can get one. And of course, it's a trap game that we fell right into their hands, and they outplayed the Chicago Bulls all night long. The paint defense as well needs a lot of work. Again, pick and rolls and just Sabonis in general. He was having an absolute monster of a game today. The amount of points in the paint between the Bulls and the Sacramento Kings is something I don't even want to mention because of how bad it was for the Bulls in its entirety. So It's a frustrating performance, ladies and gentlemen. It's a trap game. Sacramento had 20 losses more compared to their wins. This is a game the Chicago Bulls have to find a way to win. You cannot lose this game against the Sacramento Kings knowing you've got the Jazz next to have 40 wins on their season, and you've got one of the best teams in the NBA, if not the best team in the NBA, in the Phoenix Suns, that you also have to face this week. This is the game, ladies and gentlemen. I said it in the Bulls Weekly episode. When you look at the schedule, you look at the games that you have, this is the one you need to take away. This is the one you need to win, because it's very hard to beat Utah. It's very hard to beat Phoenix. And if you can take one of those two, that's fantastic for the Chicago Bulls. It's a perfect result to have. But the Kings one has to be that guarantee. And that guarantee did not end up happening. And the Bulls lost the big one in tonight's game. Fair play to Sacramento for their performance. Fair play for their defense. They're one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA, and they made the Bulls made them look like the best defensive team in the NBA. They are 29th, I believe, in points allowed, and we couldn't deliver on the scoring end for the Chicago Bulls. Very simple things you could say. If you don't play offense well and you're not really pulling your weight defensively, you're not going to win games. It's an NBA team that we're versing, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't come up ready to play, or you think it's going to be an easy night for you, this is the result that's going to end up happening. I'm surprised with a team of so many veteran players actually has to have that conversation. If this is a young team, if this was last year's Bulls where it was a very young team and your second best player is Kobe White that ends up coming up starting sometimes or coming off of the bench, fair enough. It's a young team. They don't know how to properly win, and all of these things, I can understand that we move on. But the fact that this is a veteran team, you've got DeMar DeRozan in there, Zach LaVine a year older, Vucevic, who's been in a bunch of playoff series, DeMar DeRozan's an MVP caliber player, Alex Caruso off of the bench has won a championship, Tristan Thompson's won a championship, Derrick Jones Jr. was in the NBA Finals. You have all these players that know what it's been like, know what it's like to be in these tough competitive games, a veteran team in every sense of the word, and we're still blowing games like this. It's frustrating, and I hope you can understand my point of view. I hope you understand how I feel on that situation. Yes, the Bulls did a great job coming back. Yes, we had an opportunity to win this game in the fourth quarter. We fought all the way back in the fourth quarter, and we had an opportunity with one or two shots that went in. This game could have been a different story in its entirety for the Chicago Bulls. And I feel very thankful that we did come back, and I can salute the Bulls for working hard to come back. But that's just something that I can't accept. The first half is something I can't accept. I can't let that slide because the Bulls had a great second half. I can't let that fall out of my mind just because they made it close and competitive. That's not what I like to see out of the Bulls. I don't like seeing us play so poor defensively and so poor offensively in one half, and then having us to play catch up in the second half. And that's a big thing for the Chicago Bulls all season. How many times have we had terrible starts to a game? I can tell you this is not the first, and I can almost guarantee it's not going to be the last. Our starts to games have been atrocious all season. So pretty much almost every single time that we play these games, you expect a bad start to the game, you expect to play catch up, but we just let it slip way too far today. We had it was a 20-point game at one point. You can't always come back from those games, come back from those 20-point leads and expect to win. As much as we have great wins in our season, you can't expect to do that every game and for it to be successful. So we walk away with the loss. This game really reminds me a lot of the Memphis Grizzlies games in many ways. The paint destruction the Kings provided to the Chicago Bulls, and also, I guess, the rebounding issues as well. Some really, really tough rebounding performances from the Bulls today, and the Sacramento took advantage of that in every sense of the word as well. Guard defense, pick and roll defense, same issues, same problems arise against Sacramento. So we've got a lot of work to do, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully we can get more players back very soon, but at the end of the day, we've got enough to win this game against Sacramento. So that's my disappointment in us not winning this game. My must improve, I feel like this is not the time nor the place to give sort of must improve performances. I just feel like in so many instances I could give a lot of disappointing results for the Chicago Bulls. I'm going to pick the whole team, but if you want to go more on the individual performances, DeMar DeRozan's efficiency once again was very, very poor. They had a great game plan in stopping DeMar DeRozan in today's game, which resulted in his 21-point performance on very poor shooting. At the end of the day, he can play make as much as he wants. He has to trust his teammates to shoot them out of certain situations, and I thought he tried his very best in that instance. But at the end of the day, his teammates are not helping him. There are so many role players today that were very disappointing, and we kind of needed someone to crack that 15-point, I guess, performance from the bench or from the starters. I think there was not enough in terms of the offense today. So as much as DeMar can try and trust his teammates to bail him out in many ways, his teammates didn't deliver for him in my eyes. Zach LaVine. First half was absolutely horrible for Zach LaVine, and I was going to come into this video saying, if you're not ready to play offensively and defensively, sit the game out. It's as simple as that. If you are not here ready to play, ready to give 100% of your effort offensively and defensively, then just do not play this game. Sit this game out, rest your knee, move on to the Jazz game. But in the second half, he did have a massive step up, and we really needed his performance in the second half. But his first half was, again, it was a joke. He was by far my must improve in the first half of this game. 2 from 8 from the field. Defense was not even a thing for Zach LaVine in the first half. And again, it felt like he was getting run laps around upon. And I have to say, maybe his knee is a bigger issue than we anticipated. I don't know if it's something that's bothering to the point where he doesn't want to play defense anymore. Things like that. It was a joke in the first half for Zach LaVine today. Vucevic, in my opinion, we went to a lot in today's game, and he did deliver in some instances, and some instances he didn't deliver. Again, Vucevic should not be our #1 scoring option in a game. I feel like he's not had a consistent enough season for him to be our go-to guy, but it seems like for the most part, we really went to Vucevic a lot, and he had a great game overall. Defensively, again, Sabonis had a really good game as well. Looking at Sabonis' stats at 22 and 7 night, Vucevic, I think, outplayed him, but at the end of the day, again, we couldn't really stop any of the points in the paint, and I guess that goes to Vucevic and Tristan Thompson, 2 of the centers, as well as the guards as well. Everybody on this team is responsible for the lack of defense in the paint. But then you go to the other guys, ladies and gentlemen. Javonte Green had 5 points. Ayo had 6 points. Caruso had 6 points. Kobe White had 13 points. Derrick Jones Jr. only had 2 points. Troy Brown didn't even play in this game. Tristan Thompson had 0 points. Not enough guys really stepped up to the plate to help this Chicago Bulls team. I think if every single one of these guys added an extra bucket onto their name, they've all of a sudden made this game completely different. If Javonte Green had 7 points instead of 5, if Ayo had a good efficiency night and dropped 8 points instead of 6, same with Caruso, things of that nature, these small windows of opportunity for the Chicago Bulls that we didn't take just simply took us out of the game. And again, playing catch-up doesn't help as well. So my must improve is the whole team. And the player of the game for me, again, I'm going to give it to Vucevic. I feel like Zach LaVine, yes, I think stats-wise probably deserves the player of the game. His second half performance was fantastic for this team. But all in all, that first half performance from Zach LaVine, I cannot ignore how poor he was in the first half. And I'm sure many of you guys won't be able to unsee that either. It was a really, really bad performance from Zach LaVine in the first half. But I thought the consistent out of the night was Vucevic making post hooks, floaters, layups. He made some threes today as well. It wasn't his best game, Vucevic, and I'm not really giving him a pass to just get away with it. But at the end of the day, I don't find really anybody else that had a strong game. So my player of the game is Vucevic. If you agree or disagree, I guess that's up to you. It doesn't really matter, to be honest, because we walked away with a loss in a game that I feel like we must have won. It's a must-win game in many ways, and it takes us up in the Eastern Conference, but we fall in the Eastern Conference. We remain 4th in the East with our record being 41 and 27, but just seeing the Chicago Bulls back in 2nd place, it could have happened today, and we let it slip, and that's unfortunate. It's something that I hate to see, and it's a wasted opportunity. And that's what I said at the beginning of the week as well. Losing to the Kings is a wasted opportunity. So we're going to have to find a way to beat both Phoenix and Utah if we want this West Coast trip to be successful. If you want more wins than losses this week, you're relying on the Bulls to verse a team in the Western Conference that is first in the Western Conference. And you look at Utah, where they are currently in the West, they're 4th. They have 42 wins on their season. Phoenix have 54 wins on their season. So I don't know how we're going to walk away positively out of this week, but we have to. We cannot. First off, we have to get off to very fast starts. We cannot allow to play catch up against these two teams, because if we've already seen Sacramento make us pay, Utah and Phoenix will make us pay 10 times over. So the game against Utah, which is coming up next, a bad start will end this for the Chicago Bulls. We cannot expect to come back from 20-point deficits every single game and win these games. Against Utah, we can't allow that to happen. We have to come out from the very beginning of the game ready to go. From the very get-go, as soon as the tip-in is won or lost by Vucevic, the rest of the team has to be ready to go. Simple as that. That's the first thing we have to do. And obviously, we have to watch the tape. We have to study their game plans. We know Utah's a great pick-and-roll team. So once again, that's going to be a hindrance to the Chicago Bulls because we are not a good pick-and-roll defensive team. And we just have to hope that we just have enough to outlast Utah in their home turf. That's not an easy game for the Bulls. And again, another wasted opportunity by the Kings. Makes it 10 times more difficult to beat Utah away. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. If you guys want to defend this team, fair enough. I can't really sit here and defend this team for that first half. Again, I can admire that we came back and we didn't make it easy on the Kings. But the reality is, this is a game we should have won. And if we were going to lose this game, I'd much rather lose this game in a close competitive battle throughout all 4 quarters than having an awful first quarter, a relatively awful second quarter, and then continuing to have a great second half. That's not good enough. That's not a great team. Great teams play all 4 quarters. They give everything in all 4 quarters. And I don't feel like the Bulls did that today. So whatever you guys have to say, feel free to let me know in the comments below. But that's just truly how I feel. And I'm going to speak about how I feel more often than not. Take care.